What is up, everybody? Josh here again, and today we have a new Windrose video for you. Today we'll be showing you 15 plus tips or tricks for Windrose that we've learned over the last 40 plus hours. Let's get into it, shall we? Our very first tip is going to be that nobody likes exploring in the dark, so we're going to show you how to turn it day in Windrose. Even if you're on a multiplayer server, only one person has to sleep to actually make it day. All you really need is a bed, and all you have to do is go up to it and hit Q. Now this means you can make a bed in the wild and sleep whenever it's dark, like just put a little bit of a roof over top of it, or you can go back home, of course, with a fast travel. But all you have to do is hit Q to sleep in your bed, and you're going to notice after a short period of time it's going to advance day, and now it's day outside, and all we have to do is hit space and get up out of the bed. So you can also respawn at your bed and sleep to make it day. This next tip is to always keep a little bit of wood on you, especially when you're going out and mining, because mining is kind of fickle sometimes. You don't get all the resources inside the cave. And actually, just keep in mind that caves do respawn about every 6 hours, I do believe, of gameplay, except for trees right now. I don't know if that's just bugged or what. Everything kind of respawns. Animals respawn, vegetables respawn, mines respawn, all this stuff respawns. And we're also going to show you how to get resources on top of the caves. Sometimes when you go and farm on top of the cave, you'll notice there's still resources that you can't get to. For example, this copper is on top of this cave right here, and copper is one of those resources you will get when you first start out, and we can't get to it. But if we wanted to get to it, all we have to do is go to B and go into the build menu. You can build like roofs or stairs. It doesn't really matter what you really build. I use roofs because they just seem like one of the best things to build. Hit escape to get out of that, and then now you can go ahead and get up to that copper that you couldn't get before. So building up in caves to get resources that you couldn't get before. You can also build lights inside of caves like this right here. If you hit B and go to crafting and utilities right here, the standing torch or floor standing torch can be crafted inside of here if you have wood. So if you get in here and you have a cave that you want to visit multiple times, you can sit here and make a bunch of torches in here and not even have to worry about having a light source. So then if you come back to this cave later, you're going to notice these lights are still here, and you can still come back and farm this cave again because caves respawn. All you have to do is hit B, and then you can hit the middle mouse button by default, and that will destroy that and give it back to you. So you could use whatever you want to get up to it, but you can farm resources on top of caves that you weren't able to get to before, which means that you can also build storage inside the cave and store items in that cave. Say, for example, if you have a lot of copper ore and you want to drop it off here at the very beginning of the cave, you can do so as well. Next tip I'm going to show you is that you can stack boxes. We have stacked boxes here to about 3, I think it was. You might be even go, yeah, you can go even further if you wanted to. It's a little harder to access 4 boxes. Like, for example, if we place that right there and try to get up top, it's a little harder to get to, but I would suggest at least 3 tall. But you can stack boxes in your base, and you could do that for any of the resources, really, like barrels or anything like that. And another quick little tip about the boxes is that if you have items that you want to store automatically to the boxes, all you have to do is kind of hover over them and hit Q. If there's a similar item in that box, like, for example, wood right there, we have some plant fibers and nails right there, it will automatically deposit that in there. You don't have to actually go into it and deposit it. For example, we have some copper boxes out here that we're going to go ahead and put copper in there. So we just mine that copper and we can put it in there, which is really neat. So just hit Q on the boxes and that'll automatically deposit it if there's a similar item matching in that box. You don't actually have to have the items on you. You can put all of your items into boxes, and then the benches and crafting devices will go ahead and pull from those boxes in game, which is really, really cool. You could just dump stuff in there real quick with Q, and then you can make resources and stuff like that from your benches or items from the boxes. Another tip I'm going to give you is to always carry you a fast travel bell, and you can get you a little bit of wood too and carry with you, or just gather it from an island or whatever you land on. But always kind of keep a fast travel bell on you. That way you can go ahead and place a fast travel just in case you want to come home, or if you go to a new island that you don't want to actually respawn on, you could just sit there and put a fast travel bell on it. You can only have a limited amount of fast travels in the game, so whenever you go to place a fast travel bell, I'll tell you if you're getting close to the limit of bells that you can have. But I put fast travel bells all over the place on different islands and stuff. Some islands that we go and farm, and places we want to go back to. Some places already have fast travel, so you don't have to put bells on them, but putting a fast travel bell on an island that you want to revisit, like for example, we're going to come back over here to the foothills, we're going to go ahead and put us a fast travel bell there so we can just spawn right back there and come back whenever we want to unload. But keeping a fast travel bell on you at all times is really, really wise. But definitely want to go ahead and get you plenty of fast travels around and place you a fast travel on a new island if you get there. That way you can come back and forth and, you know, bring your resources back to your main base. Next thing I'm going to show you is you definitely want to upgrade your weapons. So whenever you get nice weapons in the game, like for example, this rapier, we use rapiers, but this rapier right here, if you wanted to upgrade it, you can upgrade it up to a certain level. Of course, you have to add extra things to your benches to upgrade it even higher. But upgrading weapons and stuff like that will make them much, much more effective. And then also, as far as your armor goes, upgrading your armor will give you more defense, and that's very valuable as well. You want to make sure you're upgrading your armor as much as you can as you go. And that's going to definitely help with some survivability and being able to do more damage to kill stuff faster. Next thing you need to know about is the rested buff. So the rested buff is something that is in some different games as well, but in this one I'm going to explain exactly what it does. It does increase your amount of stamina regeneration and stamina that you have. So if you have a high rested or comfort level, the comfort level in ours right now is 15, but if you have a high comfort level, it's going to last for a very long time. We're going to go ahead and leave the base here and kind of show you our comfort level is going to go down or start ticking off once we leave the base. And now we have a comfort level for 23 minutes. So that's really helpful, especially when you're doing combat, running, stuff like that. You want to definitely have a high comfort level at your base. And the way you level your comfort level is mostly with decorations, seating, tables, stuff like that. If you hover over an item under your building panel when you hit B, it's going to show you that it gives you comfort. For example, this still gives you +1 comfort. If we go down to canopies and stuff like that, that's going to give some comfort as well. So the more items that you add to your base, the more comfort you get, and the longer it lasts, and that means you get more stamina and more stamina regen. So you want to go ahead and boost your comfort when you first start building your base. We're also going to go over a little bit of the food buffs and stuff in this game. So there's lots of different foods and food buffs that you can get in this game. You have 3 slots available, and 2 of them are food slots. For example, if we wanted to eat some coconuts here and some dodo broth, which is 2 really good starter foods that you can make in the campfire, that's going to give you 2 food buffs. And then you also have 1 elixir slot. And elixirs are like these right here. It says elixir, of course. Elixir of cruelty. So for example, if you wanted to put elixir on your body, that would be the 3rd slot if you don't know what that is. Those are elixirs. Usually you can make those in the alchemy bench. But one of the very first foods that I used for a long time and gave me more endurance or stamina is coconut milk with bananas. It's really easy to get. You can go out to trees. So we're going to look for some coconuts here. If the grass will get out of our way. Here's a coconut palm. And you see it says coconut palm, hit E to harvest, and then here comes a bunch of coconuts if you hit E. You can also just chop the tree down also. It's something else you can do. But you can go around and just harvest bananas, which are around in the forest as well, or the jungle, and get coconuts and bananas. And that's a really good endurance food, gives you more stamina, lets you be able to dodge more. Like, for example, if you wanted to hit control, that'll dodge whatever direction you're facing with WSAD. And of course, you also have your parries and stuff like that you can hold with right click. You can do your parries and blocks and stuff like that. You can also usually hit middle mouse button as a hard melee attack or something like that. Dodging before an enemy attacks like this right here, or dodging the opposite direction away from it, is a good way to get away from enemies. Charging boars are quite annoying. It's really easy. If you keep an eye on them, just dodge right before the boar charges you, and you'll, not get completely plowed by the boar. Look, he's going to come back and try to charge us again. So it makes it quite easy to be able to dodge some enemies, and you're going to use this a lot later on in the game as well. You also can't block red attacks. So for example, if you're trying to block an attack that looks red, let me show you. This one right here. It won't let you actually block that attack. So just try to avoid red attacks as much as you can. There's also options underneath gameplay. You can also toggle auto lock on if you wanted to. And then there's also underneath the keybinds, you can do a lock on as well, which is right here. T is target lock by default. When you're looking at the enemy, all you have to do is hit T, and that means it will automatically lock onto that target by default if you wanted to lock onto that target. This is really good for like the first boss fight. You can actually use objects to get away from enemies as well. So if you could jump up on top of something that the boar can't get to, or whatever enemy you're fighting, you can actually sit there and stay safe. So you can use your environment to stay safe whenever you're out and about and you don't want to actually do combat. So other animals attack other animals. As you can see, we got some wolves here. Looks like a bunch of 1-star wolves here. And you could drag them to other animals if you wanted to get them away from you. See if you can go find it's a goat or something. Right here's a goat. We could drag them to these goats right here, and they're going to attack each other. So you can actually drag enemies to other enemies of different types, and they'll attack each other. And this goes for people as well. Got some pirates here. See if we can't drag them to these enemies over here. See, now they're going to all start attacking each other. So yeah, you can drag other types of enemies to other enemies. You can also have grenaders hurt their own enemies. Watch. So grenaders can hurt their own enemies and stuff like that. You can also slice them right before they throw a grenade, and they'll drop it at their feet. So if you want to save your copper for nails, you can also go to these little shipwrecks, the stuff you see around here, and harvest those with an axe. And you will get some nails with those, like so. So just go around the shores and harvest, and you'll get nails from the shipwrecks. You don't have to waste your copper. You can make nails with copper once you get later on. You don't use copper as much, but right now, if you're starting out, you can go around and find shipwrecks on the shore and harvest them for nails. If you're playing with other players, one extremely valuable thing that we learned is that if you trade items that you don't actually know how to make, or if you haven't picked up yet, when you pick up an item in the game, you actually learn how to make that item. They have a jacket that we actually haven't learned yet. It's called the Tracker's Jacket. They learned this with the reputation and stuff that you get, and we don't have the Tracker's Jacket here in our inventory. But what they're going to do is they're going to make one of those and drop it for us to pick up. And now we have a Tracker's Jacket in our inventory. We're just going to go ahead and throw that back to them. And now we're going to go back to the bench and show you that you can now craft the Tracker's Jacket. So whenever you learn something and you're playing with other players, or once you pick an item up, you do actually learn how to make that item. So trade between your friends if they have things that you don't have, and then you can all learn the same items. Here's another example. There's another helmet that we don't know. It's called the Conquistador's helmet, and they're going to drop it to us. And we're going to pick it up, and now we actually know this helmet. Right there. Which is actually quite cool. So you can learn items if you pick that item up. So trade between your friends, if you have friends. So I'm going to show you real quick how the reputation system works, and we're going to show you how to get one item that I highly recommend you have on your boat. I absolutely love this item. I don't know, it's just one of my absolute favorite items to have on my boat. But the reputation system is quite simple. Basically what you do is you go and you get things to level your reputation with, and you go to a bounty agent and level your reputation with that person. There's multiple different factions that you can level your reputation with, but you put these items into the bounty agent and it will level your reputation. And then once you get a high enough reputation, then you could go ahead and start buying stuff from the provisioners. So you can also sell items that you get. Once you hover over an item you get, it will tell you where it can be sold at. For example, this contraband says can be sold to the smugglers. We're currently here at the smugglers, and this is the item I'm going to show you in the provisioner. Keelhold hull bracing. and it is really great. What it does is it keeps you from actually having to reset repair kits on your boat, so taking damage no longer affects the duration of repair kits. That means you can use the little crappy repair kits and just be constantly repairing 100% of the time, and you can also use the good repair kits as well, and they don't get reset when you get damaged. I fought and won so many fights with this keelhold hull bracing, and you've got to get up to reputation 2 with the smugglers of Port Royal, but you want to buy this as soon as you can. It's a really great hull bracing. So you definitely want to be getting all these insignias that you can. And of course, when you kill enemies out in the ocean, you'll be getting other random items that you could sell to these people for these coins as well. So you can see that we have went ahead and put the hull bracing keelhold on our ship and upgraded it. Also, upgrading is very, very valuable. Let me show you how to upgrade stuff on your ship. Once you get to it, you can actually make a wharf. A wharf does multiple things. It lets you kind of access your dock ships and your ships that you have available. You can make some ships your flagships, which when you hit K, you'll be able to summon that ship anywhere in the world. You can also go to your shipyard and make other ships as well. Like this is one of the best ships in the game and stuff like that. But this is what the wharf is for. And you can also repair your ships right here. So for example, if your ship is kind of damaged quite a bit, you can repair it for wood. You can also dismantle your ships and reserve your ships. You definitely want to make sure your ship is reserved. If you don't want to use a ship anymore, you don't have to reserve it. You can go ahead and click on this and it will get rid of that ship, so you don't have like multiple ships just hanging around your base. But if you want to have that ship as well, you can go ahead and reserve it. The reason why I wanted to show you the wharf is because this is where you actually manage your ship, and this is where you take the items off of your ship to upgrade. But you can upgrade your cannons and you can upgrade your hull bracing by taking them out of your ship and then coming over here to your little shipwright's workshop and hitting upgrade. So this is where you craft stuff. This is also where you upgrade stuff. So you can upgrade this up to a certain level. Requires multiple items to upgrade, of course, but you definitely want to upgrade this right here all the way up as much as you can. And same thing goes with your cannons. They do more damage, and also this prevents more damage. So you definitely want to upgrade your ship items. That'll help you out tremendously whenever you're out battling. And you can also ascend items here as well and get it to a better rarity. For example, if we ascended this item right here, taking damage no longer affects the duration of the repair kits, and repair kit effect duration is increased by 30%. So if you ascend it, you're going to get also more bonuses, and it's going to help you even more. Then when you're done, just go back to your ship, hit manage ship, and put those items back into your ship. Don't forget to put them back. Also, when you get to Tortuga, spoilers, we are at Tortuga. If you go over here to these people right here, which are the smugglers of Port Royal, these have some books here, the naval tactics, and these naval tactics right here are very valuable, especially the one that actually is called Ship Shape. It will repair your boat 3% every 3 seconds while out of combat, so you're not going to have to use repair kits in between battles. You can actually just equip these. These books right here are very valuable for you to look at. Some of these are actually really nice, but I think one of my favorite ones is Ship Shape. And that leads to our next 2 actual tips that we have for boats. And boats are really, really good for storage. So once you get your boat and you get a decent sized boat like this one right here, which you should do in the first couple hours of the game, you can go to queue and go to ship management, put all the items you want on here to actually equip whenever you're on the ship. So for example, we want our repair kits. We use a lot of repair kits. If you wanted to use grog or whatever, you can put that up there in the action panel. Also, anything you put in your boat does not get lost when your boat is destroyed. Let me repeat that. You don't lose anything in your boat. But if you were to die out in the ocean, all your stuff kind of gets lost. It's really, really bad right now. You're not able to get your body back out in the water, or at least I've only done it maybe once because I was really close, but the items despawn on your body really fast when you're out in the water. So if you want to save items, for example, gunpowder, or anything important in your inventory except for like foods and gear and stuff like that, any resources or items like that, you want to store them in your boat. If your boat was to get sunk, which we're getting ready to do here in a second, you don't lose the items on your boat. You can repair your boat at your wharf, and then you have all your items there available. So before you board, before you do anything sketchy out on the water, put your stuff in your boat or put it up, and then you won't lose any items out on the water. So you can fast travel when you're on your boat. Anytime you get on any of the boats that you have, you can actually fast travel as long as you're not in combat. And that's, for example, if you're here on your boat and you're out in the middle of the ocean or something like that, and you wanted to teleport back home, all you got to do is just kind of click on it and teleport. But you do have to be on your helm for you to fast travel with that boat. And of course, that boat will come back with you home. Another real quick tip is that you do have the front cannon and the side cannons on your boat. The front cannon is separate from your side cannons. So you can fire all the cannons on your sides, your front, and stuff like that when you're doing combat. Just keep that in mind. You can hit them with the front and then hit them with the sides if they're going, say, for example, on your left-hand side. So you could use your cannons individually. They all have individual cooldowns. We're going to go ahead and get our boat sunk, and I'm going to show you a neat little trick you can get out whenever you sink your boat. Once your boat sinks, it's not the end of the world. Now, you're not able to fast travel in combat because naval combat is in progress. But, for example, if you were to get sunk like this and you wanted to go home to repair your boat, what you can do is you can hit K and bring up your little small boat, get off your ship here, and then you can get on your small boat. And even though you're in combat, say, for example, these ships are shooting at our boat now. And here we are back at home. We've used our little boat to get out of there, and now we can go to our wharf and go ahead and just repair our ship. And our ship's back. Everything you put on your boat will be perfectly safe when your ship is completely destroyed. And the last tip I'm going to show you is that you can actually transfer worlds and transfer items, kind of like you do in Valheim. So we are currently on our dedicated server right now that we have for the channel. If you want to join that, it's in the Discord below. But we do have the map and all that good stuff. Maps changed whenever you go to another world, but you can go ahead and go to another world. For example, if you wanted to mine out copper and bring it back to another world or other resources, it really doesn't matter. But if you wanted to do so, you can hit escape, go back to the main menu, load up another save, or go to a dedicated server or whatever. Here we are on another save, and you can see all of our inventory and stuff is all completely transferred over to the other save. So you can go to other saves. For example, we can farm some of these little plants right here that we get for alchemy. These are actually quite nice to get, to be honest with you. We can farm a little bit of wood maybe. And then what we can do is transfer back over to our other save, and we can transfer those items to that save. So now we have a little bit of more items in our inventory, and we're going to go ahead and load that back up again, and we'll connect to our dedicated server here. And here we are back at our save, and all those items are now in our inventory. We can just transfer it to this base. So you can go back and forth saves and transfer resources, items, all that good stuff. And that's going to be it for this video. Don't forget, if you like what you see, to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Subscribing will get you more Windrose videos like this. We have lots of Windrose videos planned, like how to get gunpowder, a farming video, and hopefully, we'll see you next time. Peace.